After what witnesses describe as a long battle with cancer, Billy Paul Branham, the son of William Marvin Branham, has died. He passed on October 19, 2023 at 3:33 a.m., according to his brother, the current central figure of the Message sect, Joseph Branham. The Branham family has not held services at the Branham Tabernacle for some time, and they have asked members of the Message not to come to Jeffersonville for the funeral proceedings. Billy Paul was at one time a person that I knew and respected. Even from a small child, I was always around him, and I knew him as Brother Billy. He worked very closely with my grandfather at the Branham Tabernacle, and I'm told by relatives that even after my grandfather strongly condemned the Branhams for what Grandpa and his team of deacons alleged to be theft of church property and misuse of funds, my grandfather remained very close to Billy. I'm told that even after starting his new church, my grandfather continued private meetings with Billy Paul. Grandpa and Billy were always very close. Though I did not realize or recognize the significance of it at the time, when my father was attempting to grow a Message community in Kansas, Billy came to help. Dad ran newspaper advertisements headlining Billy to come to town in big bold letters that read, "Son of a Prophet." And Billy also helped grow and excite the youth at churches near us in Kansas, and we often traveled to see him. In those years, the timing of William Branham's Los Angeles prophecy was strongly tied to Billy's age, and those of us who attended his meetings all knew that the final destruction of Los Angeles was just around the corner. Billy frequently repeated William Branham's words to him, "Billy, I may not be here, but you won't be an old man until sharks will swim right where we are standing." As we traveled around to hear him speak, we'd hear Billy Paul proudly exclaim, "But I'm not an old man yet." Over time, as Billy Paul's age began to show, that element of the story began to fade from the memories. I had a much deeper connection to Billy, however. Billy Paul was my friend. He was also my foundation in many ways. While attending 4th grade in school, my maternal grandfather traveled from Georgia to Kansas and gifted me with my first guitar. And I suddenly found myself at the center of a family controversy that I didn't know why I was in. William Branham was not consistent about his extra-biblical rules concerning musical instruments. He had strongly discouraged my grandfather from stringed instruments, and Grandpa, not fully understanding that the piano is also a stringed instrument, strongly forbade instruments that had visible strings. My father rejected the gift, and I was very discouraged. Like me, Billy Paul was a lover of stringed instruments. He was a lover of music, stringed instruments or not. And my private conversations with Billy encouraged me, and over time, at the protest of my father and the encouragement from my mother and grandfather, I began collecting stringed instruments and learning how to play them. I sent Billy a cassette tape of some of the songs that I had recorded as a one-man band 4-part harmony quartet, and Billy Paul sent me a letter expressing how much he enjoyed it. My mother framed it, and until I left the Message in 2012, that letter from Billy Paul hung right up here on the wall of my office. I can thank Billy for the music that I produce in my videos today, because without him, I would have suppressed what he considered to be my musical gift. Billy was also there for me at times when I needed him most. Mental health issues in the Message run rampant. I had severe depression in the Message. I had family members who had what William Branham called a nervous condition, and Billy Paul understood when everyone else in my life demonized those who struggled with mental health. I will never forget the time that I met with Billy for lunch at Wendy's in Jeffersonville, barely holding things together because a person that was very close to me was suffering deeply from mental health issues. Billy assured me that everything would be okay, and that he too struggled at times. Billy confided me that as a young man working with his father, there were times when he struggled so badly that he hid under his desk when people might walk into his office. But he assured me that God had the power to heal, and that though times may get tough, God was faithful to be our help in the times of need. I had already respected Billy, but on that day I respected him even more. While many of my peers idolized him, I suddenly realized that he was human. That memory has helped me in many ways, even still today. I now know that there are many things that Billy Paul Branham could have done to prevent what we see in the message and all of its splinter groups. He was one of the last remaining men alive who had the respect of leaders in the movement, even among the most divided splinter cells. We will never know if he gave a deathbed confession, but if he did, and if it was published, not a single person would remain in the Branhamite religion. Many of those leaders have the same power within their individual splinter groups, and I could have strong negative thoughts about each one of them. They know the things that I know. They've seen the things that I've seen. But Billy taught me a very important lesson that has guided me as I exposed the wrongs that are being done and the people that have suffered and died because of those wrongs. Billy Paul Branham taught me that they, like me, are human.